Welcome back to day 3 of our yoga adventure together. I actually switched it up a bit tonight. I had originally planned to do a little bit of a different flow and to get into some of the warrior sequences, but um, one of the things that I'm sentimental about, that I miss about the studio, is our Sunday night restorative yoga classes. That was something that was a staple with the KatMula Wellness Studio from the very beginning. And a lot of us, I think, miss that in-person contact. But one of the things I've kept up with virtually is the Sunday night restorative yoga, which typically I do live at 8 p.m. So I thought tonight, and for the duration of our 30 days, on Sundays, we will have a restorative yoga class, which will be a little bit longer. So this video will be a little bit longer. And if you aren't someone who typically practices yoga on a regular basis, it may be a lot for you if this is something that's a new endeavor for you. So take what you need from it, but I recommend having a pillow and a blanket nearby. I think that can be really beneficial in helping to assist in some of the postures where maybe you're still working on that flexibility. Also, just because we want this to be restorative in nature, this practice is a little bit slower and we stay in some of the poses a little bit longer. So I recommend that you take what you need from it and listen to your body. And remember that everything that we do is just a suggestion, and really everyone is a little different in how the practice will work for your body. So just be in tune with things like if you have sensitive knees or if you have sensitive hips, not every posture is going to be for you. And if something doesn't feel right, then definitely take a child's pose or rest during that posture. So with that, our theme tonight is self-love. So that intention can mean so many different things for so many different reasons. But overall, our greatest responsibility is to love ourselves. So let's take that onto the mat. Okay, so hopefully you have a pillow and a blanket nearby, maybe some water if you need it. We're going to start tonight lying down. So try to find a place where you can get really comfy. For me, I started doing the Sunday night restorative yoga classes because I feel like Sunday night is such a nice time to just reset ourselves and reset our intentions and sort of restore and renew and get ready for the week ahead. So with your intention in mind tonight of self-love, what does that mean to you? I think there's a lot of different ways to really feel that you love yourself. And I think yoga is just a great way to sort of tune into that mindset and check out of the thinking mind for a little while. And give yourself a little love. It's good for your body, it's good for your mind. And as you're lying here, see if you can start to deepen the inhale, maybe to a count of 6 or 8. And maybe even place your hands over your abdomen and just allow yourself to feel your inhale. So as you breathe in, you can really feel everything expand in your diaphragm and your rib cage. And then when you get to the top of that inhale, see if you can hold it there and maybe just take a little bit more. And then let it go again at that count of 6 or 8. nice and slow, long exhales. And for some, this breath work is the hardest part, the stillness, because that's when your mind can start to get busy. So maybe that's when doing that count to 6 or 8 is helpful, or having that physical presence of your hands over your abdomen so you can feel the inhale. But try to take the focus off the thoughts. It's fine that they're there. You can even make yourself a little imaginary checklist for later. And then just sort of imagine that you put it away. And for the rest of this time, give yourself a little love. And see if you notice as you're really lengthening the inhales and the exhales, if your body feels heavy, if you can feel like almost more of a grounding presence. See if you can feel your shoulder blades heavy against the floor and the yoga mat. And then start to invite just a little bit of movement in, maybe just the toes first. Maybe just start to wiggle your toes. We neglect our feet a lot, I find. So maybe start to invite more movement in, rotate the ankles back and forth. And keep with that breath, that continuous long inhale and exhale. And then find some stillness again. And we'll start with the right. You can guide that right knee up toward your right shoulder first and then in. And by bringing it sort of out and toward the shoulder first, it just gives you a little bit more space, I think, in your hip flexor area than if you were to just try to come straight up. You may not get as much space there. So it just gives you a little more movement. And we're going to start with some little circles, gentle circles with the hip. So start in one direction. Almost imagine like you're drawing circles. As you're here, especially if yoga is something that's relatively new for you, do a little check-in with the rest of your body. So everything should be doing something. Your left leg is still extended. Your left foot should be flexed as you're rotating the knee on the right side. And then maybe reverse your rotation. I almost like to imagine it's like you're greasing up the hip a little. And keep with that steady, even, lengthened inhale and exhale. And then we'll come back to center, and we're just going to, so you're going to bring that right leg down and make any little adjustments that you might need to make. If you got a little crooked, or which I did, which is why I'm saying that. And then we're going to bring that left knee up toward the shoulder and in. And you're just going to start making some circles on the left. Your right hand can rest on your belly or on the floor, wherever it feels good. I like to sort of just rest my right hand across my hip just to remind that right hip not to come up. And then that right leg is extended and right foot is flexed. And let's reverse the circles. And then we'll let that left leg come down to meet the right. And then we're going to bring both legs up toward the shoulders and in, or both knees rather. And we're coming into a happy baby here. If this is new for you, guide the knees down toward the shoulders. And then you can use your hands either behind the shins or maybe take a yoga toe lock, which is the first two fingers around the big toe. Or maybe you grab your feet. Wherever you have that flexibility in your body, you're guiding the knees toward your shoulders and the feet come up toward the ceiling. And as I said before, you can play with the placement of your hands and just figure out where it feels good for you. It's a nice release in the lower back. It's also a very vulnerable pose. So it's a nice one to do it in an at-home yoga practice. Some people sometimes feel apprehensive to do poses like this in a room full of people, but at home, you're all by yourself. So close your eyes. See if you can just really let yourself feel this. Rock back and forth on your lower back, your tailbone. And come back to that really big long inhale and exhale that we started with. And as you're exhaling, see if you can guide the knees down just a little bit further. So you're just deepening that stretch just a little. And if that doesn't feel good, stay where you are. And if you've been moving, maybe find stillness, or vice versa. If you've been still, maybe find movement. Maybe rotate the ankles here. Flex the toes. Really get into those places that we are sort of neglectful of. If you are able to reach your feet, you can give yourself a little massage here under your feet. One more big breath here. And then we'll bring the knees together. Give yourself a squeeze. Coming back to our intention of giving ourselves a little extra love tonight. Or whenever you're practicing, if it's not tonight or it's tomorrow. Anytime that you need a little extra love. So we're going to take a couple of rock and rolls to come to an easy seat. But I want you to really sort of see if you can feel it in your spine. So rock back and forth a couple times. Give yourself a little massage. And we're coming up to an easy seat. So we're going to take some side body stretches here. And then we'll go into a head to knee pose. And I really want to do these slowly and intentionally so that you can really sort of set yourself up to have your alignment where it needs to be and your posture where it needs to be to really get the most out of this pose. So starting with your easy seat, it's easy to just sit. But really close your eyes and see if you can check in with your alignment here. So maybe adjust the sits bones so that you're flush on the floor. Let the knees be nice and heavy, coming down toward the mat. And then tune in with your spine. Everything should be nice and straight, almost like you feel like you have a rope pulling your head up toward the ceiling. Shoulders come down and back, and imagine that you have this pencil between your shoulder blades that you're holding on to. All of these little things really change your posture, which ultimately changes what the yoga pose does for you. If you really set yourself up and really get the alignment down, you get much more benefit out of the poses. So starting here in our easy seat, we'll take some neck stretches. So once you find your alignment and you have the shoulders down and back, drop that right ear toward the right shoulder. And go back to your breath again here. Sometimes when there's tension, and you should feel a nice big deep stretch in the left side of the neck, but sometimes when we're focused on that, we displace and we start to hold on to it somewhere else. Like, are you clenching anything? Are you gripping anywhere? And see if you can just let go of that. And then exhale, chin to chest. Keep the shoulders down and back. It's really easy to sort of start to roll forward here, but you'll get a nice deep stretch in the back of the neck if you just allow the head to dip down, the chin toward the chest, and the shoulder blades are down and back. You're imagining that you have that pencil between your shoulder blades. And then we're going left ear to left shoulder. And sync it back up with your breath. So inhale, long, slow. And as you exhale, can you let that left ear come down a little further toward the left shoulder, giving yourself just a little bit more space on the right side. And then on the next exhale, you can bring the chin back to the chest. And then interlace the hands behind the back of the neck. And then just give yourself that little bit of extra leverage so you're not pushing but guiding the head down. Elbows are extended toward opposite walls. You're just giving yourself that little bit deeper of a stretch in the back of the neck. And then on the next inhale, we'll all come back up. And we're going to take a side body stretch to the right. So extending that right leg out. And you want to really give yourself that moment, again, to just set yourself up. So your right leg is extended, right foot is flexed. The left foot is coming into the right inner thigh. And you want that left knee to be heavy against the yoga mat. And then we're allowing that right arm to drop down toward the right leg, so outer edge of the right leg. And the left arm is going to stretch all the way up. As you're here, you want to really, again, be in tune with your alignment, so keep the shoulders down and back. And then really imagine almost as if you're reaching for something up in the ceiling. Really reach, reach, reach. And then maybe you take it to the opposite wall. If you want a little deeper of a stretch, you can reach that left hand toward the left hand toward the right wall. And as you're doing this, just make sure you're not dumping weight here on the right side. So it's almost like it's just a kickstand. You're just sort of balancing here, but you're using your core to hold everything up. And don't lose your neck here. It's easy to sort of allow that to start to drop. So see if you can keep that alignment. And keep with that nice steady inhale and exhale. Maybe rotate the wrist here. And then inhale, we'll come back to center. And we're switching sides. So we're going to bring that right leg right. Oh, my rights and my lefts tonight. Right leg in, left leg out. So same thing on this side. Left leg is extended, left foot is flexed. The right foot is here pressed up against the left inner thigh, and you want that right knee to be heavy against the yoga mat. And then you're letting that left arm come down, using it to balance almost like a kickstand, but not putting all of the weight on that left arm. And then the right arm reaches all the way up toward the ceiling. And again, you want to imagine almost as if you're trying to reach and grab something off the ceiling. So you're really allowing that deep stretch. And it's coming from the core. You're not dumping weight in the left side. and keep the shoulder blades down and back. Usually when I say something like that, it's because I'm starting to sort of come out of the posture. So I'm reminding myself as much as everyone else. And then inhale, we'll come back up to center. And we're switching back to the other side again. So you're going to extend that right leg out. This time you're just going to adjust yourself so that your hips are guided or more toward your right leg. So you want it to almost feel like you can come forward and over your right leg. And then check in with your alignment again. Bring the shoulders down and back. That left foot is pressed up against the right inner thigh. Left knee is heavy. You'll inhale the arms all the way up and take advantage of this motion too. Really reach up toward the ceiling, both sides. Reach, reach, reach as if you're going to grab something off the ceiling. Maybe look up if it feels okay to you. And then this is a place where you may want to use the pillows and the blankets before we go here. If you're not super flexible, or maybe you are really flexible but you're just not necessarily feeling that way tonight, or you're feeling a little tighter, or you just really want to get the restorative aspect of this stretch and not really push it, then you want to give yourself a little extra buffer with pillow, blanket, one or the other. You can, if you have a long pillow or a bolster, you can put it this way and really take advantage of the restorative aspect by coming down and over the bolster. So there's that option too. And I actually am going to take this restorative posture tonight as well. So again, make sure that everything is where you want it to be. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up toward the ceiling. Exhale, we come down over whatever little cushion you've made for yourself. And this is one of those places where we really want to give the breath some time to do its magic. So see if you can settle in here and tune back in with those really big, long inhales and exhales that we started with. Two more breaths. And as you're exhaling, see if you can let yourself get even heavier. See if you can just let everything settle in a little further. And then when you're complete, roll up so that you feel that in the shoulders as well. And then we're going to set ourselves up to do the same thing on the other side. So, switching again. And again, find your alignment first. So first and foremost, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's so important. So just listen to me. Okay. So again, you want the hips to be sort of as much as they can facing that left leg. So you're aiming to have that forward fold over the left side. Right foot is pressed up into the left inner thigh. Left leg is extended. Left foot is flexed. You can set up your little buffer of pillows or blankets or bolster or whatever it is that you are using. And start with that reach, reach, reach up toward the ceiling. And then exhale, we'll come down. And one of the things that can start to happen is that right knee will sort of start to want to creep up. So see if you can keep it down. Try to keep that left foot flexed. And with every exhale, can you let yourself get a little bit heavier? And again, see if you can come back to those really long inhales and exhales that we started with. And it's just easing into it, giving yourself that time. And as you continue with this as a practice, it does its magic. And if you're like me, sometimes in these poses when you're still, the mind starts to wander or you start to go back to that to-do list. So just see if you can come back to your intention of giving yourself this time just to be, to love yourself a little. Two more breaths. And then inhale, come all the way back up. So if you have your little pillow fort, you can put it to the side. We're coming into cat-cow. So, tabletop first. Actually, just going to switch mine. So setting up for tabletop, you want to really make sure that you're tuning in with your alignment and that you have a good base here. So you want your fingertips to be spread apart so that you give yourself as wide of a base as you can for balance and for support. And from here, we're just going to go right into cat-cow. So on the inhale, you're going to dip the belly, the chin comes up, tailbone comes up. You're getting a nice stretch here underneath your abdomen, also in the neck area. And then exhale, round it out. Keeping with those nice long inhales and exhales. So inhale, belly drops, chin comes up, tailbone comes up. Exhale, round it out. Inhale, drop the belly, chin comes up, tailbone comes up. And then you can start to invite some movement into it. So maybe you start to rotate the hips a little. You can dip side to side. Maybe close your eyes. Let your body talk to you. See where you feel tight and maybe hang out in those areas a little. Two more. And then we'll meet back in our tabletop and we're going to push up into our first downward facing dog of the night. You may need to adjust your hands a little, so take whatever adjustments you need and then do a little check-in. So in order to see if you're in the right alignment, you can bend the knees, drop the belly, and then extend the legs. And you're really pushing into the palms here, and you can start to feel a stretch in the backs of the legs, and your heels may be nowhere near the yoga mat, and that's totally fine. Yoga is a practice, so over time, you'll find the more you practice, the more space you make, the more flexibility that you have. Maybe you start to pedal it out here, and maybe being still in down dog feels good to you, and that's fine. Or maybe you bring some movement into it, so bend one knee, extend the opposite leg, switch sides, sync it up with your breath. Keeping in mind again that intention, giving yourself a little love. And then, just to fire it up a little bit, we're going to do some little mini crunches. So you're going to kick that right leg all the way up toward the ceiling, and then bring that right knee in toward your chin, and then exhale, kick it back out. 2 more like that. Inhale, knee comes in under the chin. Exhale, kick it out. 1 more. Inhale, knee comes in toward the chin. Exhale, kick it out. And then come back to your down dog. Give yourself a moment, maybe pedal it out. And then we're switching sides. So left leg kicks up. Inhale, knee comes in toward the chin. Exhale, kick it out. Again, inhale, knee comes in. Exhale, kick it out. 1 more. Knee comes in. Just for a challenge, exhale, kick it out. Okay, I know that was extra. And then we're coming down, extending the knees to opposite sides of the yoga mat. Come all the way back. Extended child's pose. Give yourself a moment to catch your breath. Also, just notice how you feel. And come back to those really big long inhales and exhales. Slowing it back down. As you're here, can you let your tailbone come down toward your feet any further? Can you let yourself get really heavy? Maybe take a reverse namaste here, so a little namaste over the back of your neck, and you can walk the elbows toward the front of your yoga mat. Get a little bit of a deeper stretch in the underarms. And then we're coming back to tabletop. But to transition here, come up slow. So maybe drag the fingertips along the yoga mat and just let yourself roll back up. And then we'll meet back in tabletop, hands and knees. And again, we're just transitioning here, so you're going to tuck the toes and push all the way up into your down dog. And actually, I should have said, before we go here, have your pillow and blanket handy in case you want it at the front end of your yoga mat. in front of your hands. So just in case, as we're coming into pigeon here, so as we're coming in to pigeon, if you want a little bolster, a little support, it's just easier to have that all set up. So coming from tabletop, we're going to tuck the toes, push back up into downward facing dog. And we'll start with the right. So you're going to kick that right leg all the way up toward the ceiling, and then bring that right knee in toward the palms. And wherever this foot is fine. So people get really caught up in that you need to have, you know, everything this parallel to the front of your yoga mat. It's really, everybody's body is a little bit different. And I think you need to find what feels good for your body when you get here. So that's where the support comes in as well here. So first, see if you can set yourself up so that left leg is coming all the way back toward the back end of the yoga mat. And then you're rolling the shoulders back. You can even get a little bit of a back bend here if you lift the chin up toward the ceiling and bring the shoulders back just a little further. And then exhale. If it feels good for you, come all the way down, and this is where you can use your support. So set yourself up to be able to settle in here, especially in restorative yoga with pigeon. It really it takes time for it to do its work. So you really want to get comfy, settle in here for a few breaths. And again, if your mind starts to wander, see if you can come back to your breath, your body, your intention, and try to put the busy away for later. And then on the next inhale, we'll come all the way back up. And to come out of this, you'll push into the palms, tuck the toes on the left side, and give yourself a moment. We were down there for a little bit, so if it feels like you need to take a breath here. But as you're coming out, you'll push down into the palms, push into the toes on the left side, and kick that right leg all the way back up. If you can, if it's in your practice, you can kick that foot toward the opposite wall, so you're opening up the side body, opening up the hip on the right side here. If not, you can just stay with it extended, and then we're all coming back down to our down dog. Pedal it out here for a breath cycle. And then same thing, other side. So this time we're on the left. Left side is going all the way up toward the ceiling, and then knee between the palms. And again, take that time, find your alignment, set yourself up, bring the shoulders down and back, lift the chin, maybe take a little mini back bend here. Make all those little adjustments. And then on the next exhale, you can bring it down, or you can stay upright if that feels better for you. So take what you need. But again, find a place here where you can really let yourself settle. Come back to those really big, long inhales and exhales. Try to let go of whatever stuff you brought here to the mat. With every exhale, just imagine that you're just letting go of whatever it is that isn't serving you. Just by doing this practice tonight, you're filling your cup. And as you're exhaling, can you let that right leg come back even just a little further? Can you get any more space? And then on the next inhale, we'll come all the way back up. And give yourself a little time, a couple breaths. And then we're pushing in to the palms. We tuck the toes on the right side, and you're kicking that left leg all the way up toward the ceiling. Maybe you open the hip. And then come back to your downward facing dog. And from here, we're going to come right back into an extended child's pose. So bring the big toes together, knees as wide as the yoga mat, and then sink back onto your feet. Maybe this time, bring the arms down alongside. We had a lot of good stretches in tonight, and we did a lot of postures that we do often on our Sunday night restorative yoga classes. So if this felt good to you, you would love those classes. And I invite you to settle in for a couple more breaths here and just allow yourself to feel the grounding effect of having your forehead against the yoga mat on the ground. It's very calming. And see if you can come back to those really big, deep, long inhales and exhales that we started with. And maybe roll your head from side to side so you get a little massage in the front of your head. And then take a really deep, long inhale, maybe the biggest breath you've taken all day. And as you exhale, just imagine that you're just letting go of whatever it is that you're holding on to that isn't serving you. So we'll come on up into an easy seat. And maybe I invite you to maybe play with this, and if you naturally gravitate one way when you sit like this, maybe see how it feels to just switch your cross. Just give yourself a little extra stretch there. And then again, in your easy seat, check in with the alignment. So see if we can come back to that really big, long, deep inhale and exhale. If you have the time, you can set yourself up with your pillow and your blanket and take a little bit more of an extended shavasana here. Or maybe you're doing this and then you're going to bed, which is fabulous. But let's all come back to the intention that we set for giving ourselves a little more self-love. And if you haven't checked out the other videos, that would be a great way to give yourself a little more self-love. Maybe try the 30 days of yoga. They're not all long. Some of them are shorter. So 30 days can be very transformational. We'll bring the thumbs to the heart center. The light in me honors the light in all of you. Thanks for practicing with us. Namaste.